So I guess, Dr. Baker, what I'm asking you is, are we able to, logistics, operational-wise, to go hybrid February 1st, which is Monday?
Can we have it? We can. Can we do it effectively and safely? I don't believe so right now. But that again we are going to still have another 4 or 5 days before the 1st, and we don't know yet the impact of additional quarantining. We learned even this afternoon about additional cases. So again, the transportation concern is front and center. And then just in how we are reading the matrix, we feel like it's probably important to just try to sustain what we're doing right now. But if that was the direction, we would try to make that work, and we would do the best that we could.
So I have never sat up here and said that we're not in school because of spread within our schools. We do a very good job. I wouldn't go as far as say that they're the ultimate safest place to be, but clearly the spread within our schools is far less than the spread in the community, if you look at our rates. So what we're doing works. The problem is people's actions outside of schools. When the community spread numbers are going up, our staff are members of the community. So logically, we need staff in the buildings in order to provide a service. And people just think it's teachers. Well, like we pointed out tonight, we have a huge gap in transportation. Well, I know last week we had a huge gap in maintenance. We couldn't open the buildings and not have people there in the evening to clean the buildings. I mean, so the people that are out spread across all areas of our system, and we need all those areas in order to provide the service. I can open the building, but if there's no one in there to teach your child or watch your child or feed your child or clean up after your child, then I can't provide the service. And I was giving that rationale to someone today, and they messaged back, open the school and let the superintendent figure it out. Well, I have no doubt that Dr. Baker could figure something out, but I don't want my name attached to something that is not a good service or dangerous or puts people's safety or puts our mitigation strategies at risk or put employees in a situation where they're being asked to do 18 jobs or jobs that they're not even trained for just because we have to provide supervision for a child that's in the building. I think it's clear that we're struggling to provide the services to our SPED and our English language learners and the children that are in the buildings right now. People keep forgetting that we are serving students in person right now. And if we're struggling to do that, staff-wise, we can't add more to that right now, which was mentioned and highlighted by Ms. Wimmer when she was discussing slide 3, slide 5. It was discussed by everybody tonight. At the current moment, we can't put more children in the buildings because we cannot provide the service that we are tasked to do. So with that being said, I just wanted to read this email real quick because it sums up what we were speaking about tonight. And it is from a staff member, David Lappick from Chancellor Middle School. And he just said that he wanted to take a moment to thank you for our efforts, but he's a teacher, a coach, and the athletic director. Nobody wants to see their students and athletes back in their schools more than this guy. I thrive on personal interaction with my students and athletes. I miss sitting, talking, working, and coaching my students. Most importantly, I miss the high five, the hugs, and the relationships. We all feel that way. I've wanted since the summer these kids back in the building in some form. We voted to go virtual, and I was not on the side of that vote this summer when the numbers were, community spread numbers were far lower than they are right now. So for people to support going back now when you didn't support going back in July, it doesn't make any sense to me. And which he ends his email with, does it make sense to open schools back up at the present moment? As much as I hope we would, however, I believe this needs to be patient and cautious and extend the virtual learning until we see improvement in the data and staff is able to get their second vaccination dose. So this is exactly what I've been saying. this whole time. We need staff in the building. We need to make sure we can provide a service to these students, and we clearly can't do it February 1st. I agree 2 weeks at a time is ridiculous. I do not think, since we were able to pull off a wonderful transition to the second quarter this year, that we need to stagger anything back. I think allowing the staff to get their second dose of vaccine is not unheard of. I think hopefully that'll help cut down on our numbers of quarantine staff members, and I think that doing a target date of the 1st of March is totally reasonable.
We are hemorrhaging in our low incident bus drivers, and also we're struggling with teachers that are teaching our low incident children as well. And I would it pains me. I think that we need to include them into this package where we move them. They're on the same platform as everyone else. The numbers are extremely high, and it has an impact on them. We already see that some special ed transportation folks are in full quarantine, which is having a significant impact on their operations. So I would ask a friendly amendment to include our special ed low incident folks in this motion.
To take away the provision, the only provision that the special education has for learning is definitely against what everybody on this board should be in support of. And even though there are scenarios with contact, we are denying them an opportunity to get educated. Everybody else, the average student, what can they do? They can learn virtually. We must not allow that amendment to pass, because we are certainly by a large stretch eliminating a dynamic student population the opportunity to learn over a very long month. Once again, seems to me like we're just kicking a can down a road. Well, we'll review it in a month. Well, by then, everybody will be inoculated. I mean, we're just throwing things on a wall and hoping it sticks. And that's no way to conduct business, and it's no way to manage our students. We already have many safety provisions in place, and our schools are prepared to manage all of this, and therefore the month-long date, as well as the special needs population being ill-affected and denied education by this majority vote, if this passes, is shameful and should not take place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate Mr. Twiggs' concern for the education of our children with intellectual and physical disabilities. I, too, am extremely concerned about their education. I'm also concerned about those who educate them. As a parent sir, I have the floor, please. As a parent that there are quite a few of their bus drivers that are dedicated to driving those children to school safely that have been placed on quarantine, and quite a few of their teachers as well. The idea is, in this particular amendment, was not saying that we're denying them an education, is that we are actually taking some measures to go slow in the short run so that we'll be able to finish the race in the long run. I struggled with these decisions over the past several months. Anyone that knows me knows that I have a strong desire to see kids back in school. However, I also recognize and know that this COVID crisis has gotten worse and not better. And we're at the precipice of having all of our teachers, or the preponderance of them, get their vaccinations. I know some are going to get their first vaccinations by the end of this week, and waiting 21 days thereafter should put us pretty close to the beginning of March. We also said, and adroitly put by Dr. Baker, that he asked for the ability to make a decision in the context of our motion so that we can, if it's feasible, if it makes sense, if it appears that it's doable, to make sure that we can insert them back into the classroom earlier without board action. So I do understand Mr. Twiggs' concern, and I appreciate it. I don't view it as as some form of a disagreement. I think this entire board groans and struggles on what's the best way to return our students back to learning, not only where they're safe, but those that teach them are safe and those that support them are safe. We had an entire staff, student support staff that I found out this evening when I came in from that has to quarantine themselves for transportation. I have a very close friend that's in transportation who told me that a large number of their employees have to quarantine. This is a very real problem. It's a very real thing. And so I understand where Mr. Twigg is coming from. I understand his frustration. I share it in some ways, but I actually believe that this is the way to proceed. So I just wanted to respond to Mr. Twiggs' comments, and Madam Chair, I yield back to you.